Hola, estudiantes! Today we're going to talk about stem changing verbs, also known as boot verbs or los verbos de la bota. We're going to find out why in just a moment. So, stem changing verbs. Primero, un cuento. Hay un verbo. El verbo se llama dormir. Dormir es un verbo muy simpático. Tiene muchos amigos. Pero el verbo dormir está cansado y quiere dormir. Es la noche y dormir camina hacia su casa. Dormir camina solo por una calle. Cuando, de repente, dormir escucha un sonido. Detrás de dormir hay una bota grande. La bota camina hacia dormir. Y de repente le ataca a dormir. Le ataca en la O. ¡Oh! Dice dormir y se cae. Se cae a la calle. Y la bota se escapa. Dormir dice, oh, saca su teléfono y llama a una ambulancia. Va en la ambulancia al hospital. Y en el hospital, el doctor dice, lo siento dormir, tenemos que operar. Durante la operación, el doctor saca la O de dormir y pone una UE. Y por fin, con sus letras nuevas, dormir, duerme. You got all that? So, there was a verb named dormir. He was tired. He walked home one night when suddenly he was attacked by a giant boot. He called an ambulance, went to the hospital, where a doctor told him that they would need to remove his O and put in a UE instead, so that dormir, duerme. Okay? Now I know that's a weird story, but hopefully it will help this make sense and help you remember a little bit better how stem changing verbs work. So first let's review our regular verbs. Remember there are three types of infinitive verbs, the ARs, the ERs, and the IRs. Verbs are made up of two parts, the ending and the stem. And with a regular verb, the stem always stays the same and the ending changes. So for example, in hablar, the stem is hablo, and that part will stay the same in each form. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, and hablan. Okay, in comer, the stem is com, and that part stays the same in como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, and comen. And in vivir, the stem is bib, and you can see how it stays the same in each form. Okay, so you got the stem and the endings. Now, in a stem changing verb, as you might have guessed, the stem changes as well as the endings. Okay, so we're going to use the same endings, but the stem will also get a change. There are three types of stem changing verbs. One is UE, stem changing verbs. An O or a U can turn into a UE. So we already looked at dormir. Remember, poor little dormir got attacked in his O. And so that letter in the stem is going to change into a UE. Dormir turns into duerme. Contar, similarly, the O will turn into a UE. And contar will turn into cuenta. Encontrar will turn into encuentra. And jugar, the U will turn into a UE for juega. Remember, me gusta jugar, but we say juega los videojuegos. That's why. Okay, it's a stem changing verb. Another type of stem changing verb is E to IE. So we have preferir, entender, querer, y pensar, and those E's are going to turn into IEs. It's worth noting that it's not the first vowel that changes, and it's not the last one because that's the ending. It's the second to last vowel in the stem that changes in a stem changing verb. So not the last, but the second to the last. Not the last, but the second to the last. Okay, that's the part of the stem that changes. Preferir turns into prefiere. Entender turns into entiende. Querer turns into quiere. And pensar turns into piensa. Probably you're used to seeing the stem changing forms even more than you see the non-stem changed forms, okay? Because we use these forms more than the infinitive. But that's why they change. The last type of stem changing verbs are E to I stem changers. These two examples are in our current unit. Pedir, to order, turns into pide, and servir, to serve, turns into sirve. These two should look really familiar. Decir turns into dice, and repetir turns into repite. Again, when there's multiple vowels like this one, here's the ending. It's not the first vowel that changes, but the second to last one. Repite. Okay? So, when do they change? With stem changing verbs, the stem changes in all the forms except, I don't know where my except went, except nosotros and vosotros. That means that nosotros and vosotros have stems that look like the infinitive stem. And when you look at a chart of a verb, the stem changed forms fit in the shape of a boot. And that's why stem changing verbs are sometimes called boot verbs. Okay, so these two, nosotros and vosotros, do not have a stem change, no stem change. Okay, so dormir turns into dormimos and dormís in those two forms, but it stem changes in the other forms. Duermo, duermes, duerme, duerme, duermen, duermen. Okay, and that kind of looks like a boot. So imagine some laces. Here's where you put your foot. Okay, here's our boot, and whoop. See? Okay, so these forms inside the boot are going to get the stem change, and these two do not. Got it? Now let's look at some examples and see if you can do this on your own. So, how about he plays? We want to say jugar in the form of él. How would that change? It would be él juega. So we still use the regular ending, and then the U in jugar turns into a UE. Juega. Next. They count. So we want to say contar in the form of ellos. How would that change? The answer is ellos cuentan. So we have the N for ellos, and then the O in contar turns into a UE. Cuentan. How about we want? Querer in the form of nosotros. How would that change? I hope this one didn't trick you. So even though it's a stem changing verb, it doesn't actually change the stem because it's in the form of nosotros, and that's outside of our boot shape. So it's nosotros queremos. It keeps the same stem as querer, the infinitive. How about you think? Pensar in the form of tú. This one is tú piensas, So this does get the stem change. The E in pensar turns into an IE. Tú piensas. How about yo and pedir, I order? How would we put those together? Okay, so this still gets an O for yo, but the stem does change. So the E in pedir turns into an I. Yo pido. How about y'all repeat? Repetir in the form of vosotros, which is you all but informal, like y'all. Okay, since it's in the form of vosotros, it does not get the stem change, so we keep the repet in repetir and add an is for vosotros. Vosotros repetís. How about we find? Encontrar in the form of nosotros. The answer is nosotros encontramos. This one, likewise, does not have a stem change because nosotros is outside of the boot shape. So we keep the encontr from encontrar and add an amos for nosotros. Nosotros encontramos. This one will have a stem change. You all understand. So entender in the form of ustedes. Remember, it's the second to last one that changes. Bien, ustedes entienden is the answer. The second E in entender turns into an IE. Ustedes entienden. And you serve, servir in the form of tú. What would that be? I hope you said tú sirves. So the E turns into an I, and we keep the S for tú. Tú sirves. All right, I know that's a little bit longer than my usual video, so I'm going to stop there. Muchas gracias por ver el video y nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego.